early, mess with their heads. Here I am. How's it going?
Let's
I'm here for
go.
the power moves.
We're just vibing, man. We're talking about all the degen plays we've been making.
Okay, well, I can definitely join in that conversation. What was the last play?
We're
All
all
in
in
ship.
ship.
Okay, well, dude, last week I owned 55 trillion SHIB, and I sold before the pump. So yeah, I feel fucking ill right now.
Henry,
So
you have to follow me.
I know. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me
You would
hook
have
you up.
known the game plan.
I know. I'm so sorry. Yeah, 55 trillion I had, and I fucked it. Yeah, it's bad. Down
Henry,
bad.
stop. No, there's no way. You're memeing. There's no way.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. No cap at all. This is that's a full. That's a confession for you. A confession. Yeah, I
Yo,
feel.
what's that
I
wallet
liquidated.
address though?
I liquidated for anonymized though. I feel that's a pretty good play. I don't know what you think about that.
What's that?
I liquidated the SHIB for anonymize. If you know that project, so I think
No,
it's
I'm not familiar with that one.
okay. Well, I'm not sure you're gonna make it with that on the line. Okay,
Tell
look
us
into it. That's what I'm saying.
about it. What is it?
I will. Do you know what? It will come into the conversation later. One of my developers used to work on that project, and I'm going to get into that in a bit. So, let me save the alpha for that part of the conversation.
Oh shit!
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
What
This is sleeper project though. Sleeper project.
Anonymous. You gotta follow us with Doge next. That's the next degen play.
I'm actually curious. How did you end up accumulating that much? Oh wait, yeah, you said SHIB, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
Doge, yeah, I'm like, when did you start grabbing SHIB?
I guess like 3 weeks ago. Something like that. I think I bought it. I can't even remember the reason, dude. Like you talk about degen plays. If I could make a playbook of everything I've done the last month, you'd probably have to call a psychiatrist for me. I've been involved so heavily in trading for like 6 years now. I was like one of the original Link Marines like in 2018. So I've been riding the space for a while, and I've just ever since then it's gone from technical analysis and following the fundamentals to let's just buy loads of coins to do with dogs. And I feel like that's why I've moved into NFTs. It kind of all comes full circle.
Yeah, dude, NFTs are popping off.
Absolutely.
Loving the space right now. I mean, I think we can all agree that like the community is amazing. Like everyone's coming together, everyone's rallying, everyone's supporting all the projects. It's really beautiful to see.
Absolutely. We did a charity drive yesterday. We managed to raise 175K for psychedelic research, and I was actually fucking blown away. I had no idea. I thought we'd maybe make like 60K or something like that, but like the subcultures and making sure that artists get recognition right now, like the energy and the vibes in the industry and the space, it just couldn't be higher. Like it's so difficult to poke holes in the overall space of NFTs right now. I feel like there's so much good being done. It just outweighs all the negative press.
Yeah, dude. Like, what is even the negative of NFTs? You know?
Well, like the thing I'm dealing with right now is like the kind of environmental impact. That's the main FUD I get on my timeline. Whenever because you have to remember, I come from esports. So for me, my whole audience, I have like 150K followers, all of them esports people. And as soon as I announced I was moving into the NFT space, I lost 8,000 followers. And at that point, people were just like, my timeline was full of people telling me I'm a scammer. I'm destroying the planet. I'm surprised you guys haven't I guess all your followers probably are from this space, so you don't get that shit too much. My timeline was like the worst place for a good week once I moved from esports to NFTs.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think just about all of our followers are all crypto native.
Yeah.
Once people realize in the gaming industry how NFTs will revolutionize the gaming industry, I guarantee you won't get another scammer call.
Well, that's what I tell people, right? Because they don't understand that all of their favorite publishers and developers are moving to this space in about 1.5 years' time. As soon as the first chip falls, as soon as like EA, Ubisoft make one big game that incorporates NFTs that works across all of their games instead of just one in an enclosed environment, like it's game over. Every company will have to follow suit. And it's not if, it's when. It's like it's happening within a year. If you ask me, there'll be one massive game that absolutely nails it. It's a AAA title, whether it's like a Call of Duty or a Watch Dogs or something. Like one of them will incorporate the NFT kind of infrastructure onto their game, and it's gonna just blow up as soon as they're ready. I think that's the next step, and it's gonna be crazy. And my whole mission statement this entire time, like I don't know how many people are familiar with what we do, but we're trying to prove that kind of that perception of the NFT industry wrong. We're trying to move things in a different direction and focus on games as well and make sure we can kind of promote that side of it. I feel like there's a lot of work to be done, but we're trying to convert people every single day.
Yeah. Also, like I think once gamers realize in this like new future that you're going to have this like interoperability. So, whether your skin from Fortnite or maybe your skin from Call of Duty, as long
Yep.
as they're potentially integrated with each other, or even in-game currencies, like in a lot of games in the future, you're going to share the same denominated currency across the board. And so those in-game marketplaces, you're going to be able to have that interoperability to where you're going to have like NFT swap to swap across, different quote metaverses of different franchises, if you will.
Well, if you look at like just CSGO as a framework for NFTs originally, like CSGO came out in 2012, and it essentially it's very similar to NFTs, but without the blockchain, obviously. That marketplace has been the absolute backbone of CSGO in a nutshell. It's kept the game alive because it's created a separate industry along with the game itself. And esports, you've got the skin side of it, which generated good and bad, I suppose, like gambling sites, a trading market, and people are like creating jobs on the side. It was just a very good use case for how these sort of things can be done. Imagine if CSGO wanted to take all of their inventory from CSGO now to CSGO 2. It's going to be very difficult. If it was all on chain and all NFTs, it would be a much simpler process. And I think that's really the wake up call for keeping games future proof and moving to different engines, having every cosmetic item and perk on the blockchain. That's the way forward. And I just think it's inevitable. That has to happen.
Yeah, now these gaming companies too can get royalties off of the NFT sales. Like imagine all the additional income that they're going to be able to generate.
True. Yeah, absolutely.
Like it'll be able to keep it alive because now in today's age, like these companies are expected to keep the games up to date. They're expected to roll out weekly updates or even daily updates to make sure that it's like the top of the line experience. And they're receiving so much feedback from the community, especially these large games like Call of Duty, right? They're continuing to build and develop their current titles.
Yeah, it's a wacky world, bro. Like gaming as a whole has been a bit of a stagnation period. I think like we're in a real difficult point with gaming in the sense that every title that comes out is just a sequel. There's no new IPs, no one's taking a risk, and I think it's because they're so stuck in their ways. You think about Call of Duty and stuff like that, the mainstays of the gaming space. Like they release a new title every single year to bleed the same money out of people, and I don't know, it's just got so boring, the current model. And I can't wait till it evolves. I can't wait till people start showing it can be done without these massive companies involved, without these huge publishers required for funding. We can generate our own money and hopefully change the gaming industry with NFTs.
And what's also funny is that it's actually not even limited to the gaming industry. Like even NFTs could disrupt film.
Yep.
And you could say the same thing about the film industry right now. I'm not like a huge, movie buff or like a grade A film critic, but there's a lot of copy and pasting going on and a lot of just reiterations. You roll out the sequels. So even that industry is prime for disruption.
Okay, well, seeing as we're going down the rabbit hole here, let's just talk about the music industry as well. Like it's famously, like the record labels constantly screw over the artists and they don't really get a slice of the pie they should. If you start releasing your work and your royalties through the blockchain, for example, through an NFT that generates royalties through the album sales, through the merch sales and stuff like that, like all of a sudden you don't need the record label. You're doing it on your own back, and you don't have to slice it up to a major organization. And we're seeing that more and more every single week. People taking full control of their careers and their art, and not having to sell it off to a corporation. I think that's the most fucking awesome experience about the NFT space. I've seen so many people do it just in the last month, just change their lives by taking a risk. And it is a risk right now, but if you do it properly and with the right people, you can turn that risk into an opportunity and do something really great with it.
Yeah, it's actually a really interesting concept because in a way, you're kind of letting the
Did he get rugged?
I think he might have got rugged.
If I thought I was rugged, but it felt like everyone got died at the same
Yeah.
time. I don't know.
Rip.
Now, Henry, a good point you made, right? So, like, Call of Duty has probably made the same game, I would say, 3, 4, maybe 5 games in a row, right? It's like it's just the same thing. And I get it, it's Call of Duty, sure, but you're right, there needs to be something new. Like, what if there was a blockchain game where it was a couple different games and you could go through a portal, aka the Metaverse, and go interact with other games? Like, there's so many opportunities.
I think the VR space is the most exciting use case for this thing. If you look at like games like VR Chat, for example, where the whole idea is you can change your cosmetic appearance inside the game to whatever you want. Someone who can provide that sort of duality between the VR chat experience, but bringing on-chain sort of assets and really high quality skins and stuff like that for those sort of games. I think that's the way forward. Like games that allow you creators to do what they want and buy bits and pieces from the marketplaces and take them across multiple titles that work in different games. Like that would be a really cool concept instead of everything being so segregated to its one title. Imagine having a publisher across all of their titles. It's the same NFTs work for different characters and have different buffs, different abilities, and actually invest you into their entire ecosystem instead of just one title. I feel like that's something that's really not anyone's taking advantage of, and I'm hoping to change that with our shit going forward as well.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head too, right? And when you said the customizability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Skins in a game or clothes or different, let's say, hair colors, whatever. Like, people want to be able to pick what they want and be unique. And if you can portray that through, like, NFTs, right? You buy a shirt of an NFT and it gives you, like, an armor buff, like you were saying. Stuff like that would just add different aspects to the game, and especially if it was like a PvP game, it would just add so many different layers of strategy that now you have to account for. Like, okay, what gear is my guy wearing, or etc.
Yeah,
But I think NFTs will have a huge effect on gaming itself. Not only just like the skins you can buy, but how the games are run as well.
I completely agree. Like right now, unfortunately for us, I still feel like we're in the dark ages of this entire space. Like you have to remember that the Ethereum network sucks. It's super difficult for people to get on MetaMask. I know it's not difficult for us listening to this space, but in terms of I wanted to get my mother to pick up a MetaMask and explain the process of getting on Coinbase and converting the money, like players like Topshop, for example, they've absolutely nailed that experience. We just haven't got enough companies nailing that process of onboarding people to the space and showing them like an interface that they can understand and they're used to. I really think like the Web3 stuff's awesome, but MetaMask is not the final iteration. It's a good starting point. As soon as we nail that and we can get past that point and work out how we get it across different platforms, that's when things start to get exciting. That's when we start to blow the roof off and we're not bogged down with network congestion and gas fees and lack of integration. But I don't know when that time comes, but if anything, boys, like everyone listening to this show right now means we're fucking early. There's no way but up at this point. Like as soon as the technology is adopted correctly and properly by the bigger companies, that's when we all start to make a massive takeoff, I think. So yeah, I'm super excited going forward.
Yeah, well, not even the effects of like how it'll change the gaming industry, but how it'll change young people's lives too, right?
Yeah.
Because you're seeing play to earn really affect people. Like people are buying houses or cars or helping give money to their parents off stuff they earn from play to earn games. And I think play to earn, honestly, we've seen it over the past few months. Like play to earn will probably take the top spot in gaming because for once, it's not pay to win. Everybody's starts at the same place, and you can earn like an income instead of working a job. You can play video games all day. You can play them with your friends. And like I don't know about you, but growing up as a kid, I was a huge gaming addict. I would spend the whole day in my room. And if you're telling me I could have got paid for that, I mean that's a lot of kids' dreams.
It's kind of funny you should say that because every single fucking crypto developer, NFT developer I know, they started like cutting their teeth in RuneScape, like making bots in RuneScape, hacking RuneScape, And that's kind of like the framework, I think, going forward. Like those kind of games where you're actually, instead of like, let's think of World of Warcraft, for example, like you're unlocking items there and you're grinding your actual physical time as a human. Let's say like some people will put in what hundreds and hundreds of hours into this character. And when the game's life cycle dies and it's not played anymore, or the company fucks up massively like Activision did, all of a sudden, all your time and all those hours in the game are so limited to that one ecosystem. You can't do anything with that anymore, right? You can't take those World of Warcraft items and do anything with them apart from sell them on your specific server with your people around you, and like not even across different realms in the network itself. Imagine an approach like everyone's talking about New World right now from Amazon. I don't even see that as like it's an evolution, but it's not a revolution. From Amazon, I expect so much more. Like I feel like it's just a watered down version of World of Warcraft. Like where's the next step? Like where are we seeing like people like take this, like you're grinding in-game items that actually have value outside of the space as well, so you get the gameplay experience, but when you get that amazing drop from the final boss that has a 0.1% drop, instead of minting it, you're actually grinding it with the guild in game, and then you can sell that as a guild like on the blockchain. Like that to me is like the best example of actually like using that as like a company, or instead of your game time feeling like, okay, this is just for fun, if we are the first ones to unlock this drop from the final boss, we can go sell on OpenSea after this and make $300,000. It'll be worth all the strategy being the first ones to pick up that strat. And that for me is like, that's the future, man. That's the future. That's where gaming's going.
You know what's funny you say that is like I could totally see that as well, right? Getting these like however many number of guy teams or guy or girl teams and literally just grinding on the same game. And you could even use like Chainlink VRF, right? So that
Yep.
0.01% from
Exactly.
the boss. Like so you know it's guaranteed that a 0.01% drop or whatever percent you want. And now you have something that is like almost like promised, right? So if you go and grind for it, you know you worked your ass off for it.
Yeah,
And
I feel like that's why we're in the dark ages almost right now with these sort of experiences, because I compare this to like the very early text-based games in terms of the way we're like gamifying NFTs right now. It's just like we're creating a storyline around staking the NFTs, right? Like we'll come up with something, some sort of law around that to put your NFT on a website and lock it away for 30 days to stop it being listed. That's about as exciting as it's getting. Generally speaking, there are some really cool projects that are doing some other stuff, but that's where we're at this era. Like taking that these next few steps in a couple of years, like I'm super hyped. I feel like there's just so much unexplored territory, like there's unlimited potential.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. Gaming, honestly, for me, was like a huge part of my childhood, so I'm super excited. I know Mewtwo is as well. Like super excited for the NFT slash gaming space. There's just so much to offer, and like you said, we're very early. So I'm super excited to see projects maybe 3 to 5 years from now, how like advanced the technology is that they're using with blockchain and how they're implementing it. Like, yeah, I think it'll be really cool to see.
Yeah, I'm personally really excited about gaming too, because it's going to introduce people to DeFi. Like these games are going to have the same components of DeFi built into them, and they're gamified. So it's teaching people about finance, about economics, and then they can apply that to their everyday life.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's the direction we're going in. Like I said, it needs one big player, one big publisher to fall on their sword first and take the controversy. Like I said, moving like into this space is going to always be controversial for any company, like making that sort of play. Like, again, it feels very natural for us, but take it from me, someone who worked in the traditional gaming industry for 10 years before this and then esports as well, like moving on from their kind of antiquated sort of approaches right now, like we said, sequels and just following the same threads they have for the last 10 years and hoping to sell 1 million copies upon release and just knowing everyone will buy it. That's going to die out soon. And finally, because thank fuck, because the gaming industry's been very, very stagnated for a long time. And I feel like the revolution is coming. And as soon as the independent publishers and the NFT game producers start actually entering this space and showing how much money can be made with actual hard work and passion without relying on big companies, that's when we see the transition. That's when we see them adopting it and waking up and realizing that we're already here. The future's already arrived. They just got to wake up.
Yeah, I think also another thing that's like awesome about this, and also sorry about earlier, I clearly had some connection issues. I don't know if you guys heard me like cut out, but you know, I think it moves to this model of like community owned, right? At least, you know, I'm not in the gaming industry, but I have heard from like a game development standpoint, it's not always the most fun or kind of equal industry to be in. And so moving to this like new model of like this like community owned and being a developer early, you know, you could have access like equity in what you're building very early, and you could be directly rewarded proportionally by how well you execute and build out over time.
Yeah, it's a super. I'm sorry I brought so much gaming in here, guys. Like that's just my background. I know no one else probably gives a shit what I'm talking about. I'm from esports and gaming, so
No, we
that's
love
my
it, bro.
natural thing. So I can talk about that all day long. But I know that's probably not the most interesting debate.
We love it.
Nah,
Yeah,
it's
we
totally
definitely
cool.
like it.
Like we. Super. We're Super and I are very passionate gamers. Like we would definitely play games often, and honestly, like that's what this whole space is about. It's about education, and like gaming is embedded in crypto, and it's going to be massive.
Yeah, and I mean, just to add on to that, I think just about all of us up here on stage are, you know, we've had shows talking about, you know, finance, DeFi, green finance, NFT. Like we're across the board on everything.
You definitely are. Like I think I messaged you before, like last week or something, dude. Like I listened to a few of your shows a few times, but like when CLG was on here, I listened to that show. I was like, oh, I want to understand what you guys are up to and what's going on. And then I've been following that guy for years. Like I said, I've been buying Link for a long time, and I realized, like, God, if this is what these guys are talking about at this level, at a sort of technical, like fundamentalist level, I was like, I am going to sound so stupid when I turn up. That guy's like the smartest dude I've ever heard in my life, and I was like, okay, if they start grilling me on all that sort of stuff, I'm gonna like a twat. But I listened to a few other shows and realized you guys are chill. That was just a very technical show that I happened to jump into, so it's all good. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I was just about to say, whenever we have COD on, it's like straight technicals, and we're like,
dude, I felt stupid when
when
listening to it. I was like, I'm not on this guy's level. I never will be, and I respect that. That's why I follow him. But I feel dumb.
Yeah,
and I feel like the same boat too, right? But some of these gaming projects, like a lot of people that come on, they're just chill. And we hang out with them and just ask them questions, have a conversation, and it's like our main focus is education, right? We want to help everybody in the industry kind of learn and push them in the right way, and you know, question the narrative, right? So we love having a different variety of projects on.
Yeah, well, you definitely got some variety with me. I've definitely lived a wild, interesting life. So anything you guys want to know about what I'm doing or where the project's going, like it's an open book here. I'm so interested to speak to new people in the NFT space and kind of like create a Venn diagram between gamers and crypto. I'm trying to kind of bring the audience over and show people it's not so scary. You know, that's my aim right now.
Yeah, and you know, just to add on to that, I think it's inevitable. Like it is going to happen, and so you know, in 5 years from now, you may look back as kind of the trailblazer for the gaming industry.
That's what I've been saying, but no one else seems to be repeating that statement. So thank you for being honest.
Well, here you go.
Yeah.
You heard it here.
It's documented too.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, okay, I'll be honest though, I am the first esports personality, I think, which is not saying much. I'm the first D-list celebrity to come in and make an NFT. So that's something. On the history books, that will be there. That is something.
Yeah. Well, technically, you know, we did have one of the founders, the original like OG founders from way back in the day from FaZe.
Cool. I'm just going to fuck myself.
So we've dabbled in the esports area, I guess.
You had Banks on the show, right? Is that what happened? Was it Banks you had on from FaZe?
No, I had Eric on.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I know Eric. That's cool. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. He's super cool. Hey, Henry, cool. I'm curious, like, what made you transition from like CS:GO to NFTs?
Oh, that is a good question. I guess I've been trading Bitcoin since 2014, right? So for me, it's like always been a hobby, and it's something I've like. For me, when I work, like I don't like to work for other people. I like to work for myself, and I like to be passionate and work something within my interests, I suppose. So for me, like ever since I started learning about it and understanding how big this is going to be and almost a revolution for the people within our lifetime, I think like within the next few years, to be honest with you. I knew this would be something that I had to transition to eventually. It was just how long I could stand myself in esports. So to give you some background, I guess, I was the first ever professional gamer from the UK. So this is going way back. So I'm probably quite a bit older than most of you. So going back to, I was one of the first people to be salaried for professional gaming. This is throwing back to 2006. We were on a TV show called the Championship Gaming Series over in Los Angeles, and I was a 18-year-old British kid living in LA, not really knowing what the fuck was going on. This wasn't a time where esports was a term. This wasn't a time where Twitch existed or YouTube even existed as well. There was nothing else but Counter-Strike exists, and some people play it for money, and for some reason, DirecTV is going to turn it into a TV show. And ever since that moment, like it kind of failed, but failed upwards. All the shows that came out of that kind of enterprise ended up like being cancelled and had shit viewership, but it was the foundation for esports, and it was the first wave of professional gamers. And that was in 2007, and ever since then, I've been just grinding the esports and gaming space. And I guess if anyone doesn't know, I guess my most prolific role was being a CSGO commentator. If anyone who doesn't know esports, that basically means the guy you hear shouting in the background whenever you're watching like CSGO, League of Legends, or Dota, Rainbow Six, that sort of stuff. I'm the British guy in the background talking about CSGO. I was nominated as Esports Commentator of the Year 2019. And I guess to answer your question, that for me was a turning point in my career when I realized that I've been doing the gaming stuff for so long, and I've reached the peak of what's available in terms of the trajectory of my career. So I've commentated every grand final. I've worked every major since I started my career. I've managed to win every single award available, including the highest accolade, which was the Esports Commentator of the Year. And I just felt myself just like feeling quite hollow and without much direction in my life. I felt like I could stagnate and pursue the money and make sure I'd be happy for the rest of my life in one sense, in terms of being comfortable, but I wouldn't be satisfied in terms of like, I'm not passionate about this anymore. I feel like I completed everything that was available in that scene. And I realized like I spent most of my time trading and learning everything about the crypto space. I knew eventually, all of my friends knew eventually I'd make this move over. I was just waiting for the right opportunity. And I assume some people will know, I was the general manager of Cloud9 Esports up until like May this year. That all fell apart due to COVID. And it was the craziest story, really, how this all started. I went to a wedding. I came back, as you can probably tell, I'm from the UK. I came back to the UK for a wedding 3 months ago. And it was for an esports colleague's friend's wedding. And I came back and we went to the wedding, and it was just supposed to be a normal day, just like, just have a nice day, see them get married, move on with your life. And it turned out to be something very different. I actually ended up sitting next to at the dinner table with my now business partner, Richard Sims. And we kind of got talking about crypto and NFTs. It was something I was really interested in and something I really wanted to pursue in my life. I was telling him how many NFTs I was buying and flipping and kind of learning. And he told me that he had this idea, like, and he wanted to work out a new project and how he could move into this new space. And he showed me these fucking stupid mushrooms on his phone. And like, I was like, I really want to turn these mushrooms into an NFT like concept. I want to take this to the market. We think like the artwork's great. And like, I saw a really blurry video with no Wi-Fi on his phone. And like, I was like, okay, man, well, just send me the video tomorrow. Let me check it out. Like, I'm pretty educated in the NFT space right now. So let me see what I can do. And he sent me the actual HD video the next day. And I watched it back and I was like, holy shit, this is like Pixar level animation. Like what's going on? Like why didn't he not stress explicitly like this is something I really need to watch out for? And it turned out he actually had like one of the most bomb projects in terms of 3D animation, visual design, in terms of their general approach, the team they actually had a really amazing project. The only thing they didn't really have was like someone who worked in marketing and someone who knew how to get this sort of product to market. And that's my background. Like marketing and event management in gaming is how I kind of cut my teeth in this space. And I said, like, I'm definitely no expert, but I definitely can combine all of my skill sets from these different industries, and I think I can make this work for you. And eventually, after a couple of days in back and forth, we managed to work out that I would buy into the company and I would lead the business development. And Christ Almighty, did it ever work out? We launched 48 hours ago, and yeah, we absolutely hit a home run. We managed to do, I think it was 928 Ethereum volume in 24 hours. We sold out our first drop within 4 minutes. Did $3 million worth of business in the first day. And yeah, it's mainly down to our artwork, but the team we've got is just awesome. So there is my life story for you. That's the whole thing. I hope it wasn't too boring, but I think it's a pretty cool story in terms of how we got to this position. It's been a really wild ride, and it feels like it's almost fate/destiny, divine intervention that we got to this point. But I feels like it fits so well. It just feels like this is the way it was supposed to go.
No, that's actually really, at least for me, I find that actually a really fascinating life story.
Yeah, it's weird how life works out.
Yeah, I mean, esports in general, I think, is like really interesting. And you actually touch on a really interesting point, and I feel like you're in a really unique position to answer this. But I was actually having a conversation with somebody this week, or maybe last week, and I was asking, what are the chances that we see like a DAO sponsored or an esports like sponsored through a DAO, where it's an esports organization, but it's completely ran by a DAO?
It's a good question. It's something I'm definitely considering myself. Like, I think it's just inevitable. I feel like there's no reason why it couldn't happen. Like right now, it's another thing in esports that hasn't really been touched upon. It's all very traditional how it should be done. Like you raise money for an investment group, you bring on a big company that sit in the background and will expect certain returns, and you have to sacrifice your integrity almost to even operate in esports. So honestly, I might be the first one to do it, to be honest with you. Like it's on my radar that I want to move into owning an esports org eventually. And right now, like it seems like I'm on the trajectory to do it. I want to change that space. I want to show that it can be done in an efficient and kind of progressive manner, which actually benefits the players, and you can make it a sustainable business. Because right now in esports, it's actually not a viable business model. We're teetering on the edge of just hoping that this all works out and everyone's going to buy us out in the future. Esports is a very strange landscape where it's almost snake oil. You're kind of selling the dream. You're selling the idea that one day this will be big enough that everyone's going to buy into it, and it's going to be the biggest thing in the world, which is true to some extent, but no one really knows how to get there. But I think to your point that having someone invested in that level who can raise the funds in an independent manner and actually fight for the players, that's something I'm working towards. I guess I don't want to commit myself too hard to it, but it's something that's in the works, and it's one of my absolute goals in life to run my own esports organization and do it the correct way, off the grid, as it were, and making sure we kind of invest in our players.
I love that, and I would be like the first one to sign up for that.
Amazing.
All
right, watch this space then, brother. I'm going to do my best for you. Like it's a 1 year timeline I give myself, but like pushing this money back into esports and my experience, like I want to change that industry as well. So it's something that's definitely on my radar.
And then also, we can, we don't waste time talking about this theoretical esports now. We can. I know.
Are we in the main show now? Is this like the real thing we started? Or this feels like the kind of like warm up banter we're doing now. Like I don't think we've even said like what's really happening. We're just kind of just shooting the shit, which is great. This is my favorite. But what stage of the show are we in?
Honestly, yeah, we just kind of go with the flow and we shoot the shit. So like obviously with somebody like you, like you're awesome just to have a conversation with. We just kind of let go wherever it goes. But yeah, I mean some interviews are a little bit more structured, but I mean, hey, if you want to keep shooting the shit, I'm all
no, I'm down, dude. Like, people pay me to talk for a living for like 10 years. Like, I could do this for fun all day. This is perfect. I love this.
Let's go. No, we're loving it, man. We're just having fun. That's what this whole space is about. It's just having fun and providing the education and the content for people.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I love this vibe. Like, this is the best fun, like the most fun I've had in like 5 years in terms of like feeling accepted and people can just actually be themselves. And I guess it's down to like the fact you can like almost be anonymous in this space, and it's okay. You don't have to disclose your full name. You don't have to be yourself in terms of a human. You can just be your personality, and people can accept you for that. And like that's the craziest thing. Like I watch, I listen to all of these spaces, right? Every single one. Like that's how I did my research the last like 6 months, is listening to NFT spaces, and I recognize people from their profile pictures now, and that's how I see them. As just like I don't want to judge them as a human any more of a surface level than this Twitter space. And I love their ideas and what they're doing. And I don't need any other information, because I don't want to give any information about myself. As someone who's been in the public eye for the last 6 years, it fucking sucks. And people just want to take you down. If you ever have any sort of success, take it from me, it's not worth it. You're better off being a profile picture, a fucking flex emoji, a flex profile picture, something like that. It's so much more fun, and you can be yourself truly without having to give into the responsibility of having this sort of like persona or the correct opinion on everything. You can just talk about NFTs and like focus on that space. I think this is like the best thing about this whole area. I can be myself without the ramifications of what a brand might think or a sponsor might pull out. And that's been my life for like 6 years. And I fucking hated it. I can actually feel like I've been myself for the first time in a long time.
That's incredible.
That's really.
And I'm curious, like now that you've launched like your first ever NFT project, which is highly successful, and I know it's only been 48 hours. What are the haters saying to you? Like, are there people coming up to
They're
you
saying
now,
jack
like,
shit,
oh,
bro.
shit, I love your project. Like,
no,
it's dope.
they're saying jack shit. And that's the best possible part. Like, but when I first announced I was moving from esports and I was moving over, like the amount of people that were just lavishing in the fact that I was saying like, oh, unfollowed, fuck this guy, like he like just another like scam, like I can't believe he's doing this. To all of a sudden we're like trading $3 million worth of volume, we're donating $200,000 to charity, all in 48 hours of launching. And it's just like a massive fuck you to those people. The only reason they're like they give those sort of opinions and they have to like vent the animosity, it's because they don't understand the space. They don't understand what's going on. They don't know what's coming. And it just I try my best not to get upset by it, but like it's just annoying. It's just that people won't give you the time of day for things they're ignorant to. And it's something like I said, you guys don't get exposed to as much because you're all in this space and you don't have to deal with the outside world too much, which is great. But like someone who's been dealing with this kind of this judgment, almost people thinking I'm a lesser person because I don't work in esports anymore. I'm just kind of like, well, you know what, like that's the only reason you followed me, because you thought like I was a good commentator and stuff. That's fine. And I'm learning slowly that I had more of an audience in a community, but I'm hoping to recycle that audience and move in a more positive vibe to this space right now, which seems to be the case because everyone I've met like has been so nice to me in terms of how things have gone this week. It hasn't all been like roses and everything's been like rainbows. It's been really stressful. This has been the most difficult week of my life. I've had a fucking wild life. We had a failed launch, a failed minting last Friday. And I can't stress enough how, like, I think I took years off my life that evening. It was one of the most stressful experiences I've ever had. Like, we all know that a lot of mints go wrong and things can fall apart. But just how quickly, like, your life can flash before your eyes. We've put so much hard work into this project, like, so much of my own capital as well. And on Friday night, where we got targeted by 4 different hacking groups and bots and shit, they destroyed our entire mint. In hindsight, it was the best thing that ever happened to us because we managed to kind of reevaluate what we were doing, bring in some new developers and fresh eyes to the project. And ultimately, just to answer your question, like the people that are trying to bring everything down, like I feel like we always triumph and overcome them. People that try to fuck me up only make me hungrier to succeed. And so far, so good. Like it feels like as soon as we reach a bump in the road or anything that holds us back, we just try to reevaluate, work out how we can progress, and it's working out really well. We're a really strong team, passionate people. And a ragtag squad from the UK. There's only 4 of us in the squad, and none of us are NFT specialists. None of us are a crypto like influencer or anything like that. We're just 4 dudes with a vision. Me guiding the project, and ultimately with one of the world's best 3D artists, you ask me, like managed to bring his vision to life. And I think people are loving it. I feel like with the new development brought on, we've got a really exciting, interesting product that we were number 4 on OpenSea in terms of floor value this week. I think we're the most exciting drop in the last month until Metaverse turned up today. It's been fucking wild, dude. It's blown me away. It still feels like a bit of a fever dream, but I knew this would be the case. I knew if you approach this space with the right, the right passion, the right ideas, the right artists, we could do it properly. And I think, like I said, things went wrong, crazy. Yeah, like this would work out just because of like the foundations we have.
Yeah, Henry, I think you hit it on the head. First of all, great success on the project. I was talking to Mewtwo the other night, Chase. We all love the artwork, so y'all killed it on the artwork for sure. And then the fact that you're giving back to the community already kind of just solidifies why you're here, right? You're here to spread the love, right? Because gaming brings kind of multiple emotions, right? The community aspect is huge for gaming. And like you were saying, gamers are kind of toxic. It's totally true. Like, I came, honestly, from, I would call it, like, semi-competitive Call of Duty, right? Just playing S&D tournaments and wagers. And those kids all day on the mic just negative and toxic, even if you're trying to talk about something positive. And then when I started making the switch to crypto, right, I kept the same Twitter. And so many people were like, oh, it's all going to zero. Like, you're going to lose all your money, this and that. And then, like, 8 months later, I have people in my DMs from gaming asking me how to do this stuff. And it's just like, if people were less ignorant, and I'm not saying that it's just gaming people, but people in general, and were just, like, willing to ask questions and kind of just learn about it, maybe they wouldn't be so negative. And I think that this merger of like NFT gaming and blockchain, it's going to bring a lot of benefits to gamers, right? Because going back on my point of play to earn, now people will be more interested as being a community, right? For those guild boss drops and so on. But no, I just want to say you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Thank you, man. I'm glad that some of this is resonating with you. All my old crazy stories.
Henry, where does the passion come from, brother? Because you have an amazing amount of passion about NFTs, and I'm just wondering, like, what is the source, or what do you think is that the source of that passion?
I think I'm seeing just from the last couple of years, just seeing how the human race has treated each other. I feel like with COVID and lockdown, I know, sorry to bring this bullshit up. I just feel like there was a shift in our culture. It felt like we went from accepting everyone and like having debates and having an open discourse. It felt like that just shifted. It felt like we became our Twitter personalities. It felt like you couldn't really do anything but have some sort of level of animosity with someone who didn't agree with you. And I just felt like with NFTs, like I said, it felt like it was a very open community where you could be yourself, and you could nothing political or bullshit really mattered. There was no real reason for people to even mention those sort of things. All they really talked about was when the mint was, when they can get themselves a whitelist, and that's not the reason I love it. But I also just think, in terms of subculture, it's something that's died worldwide. I feel like we're getting more and more distant away from each other as humans, and like being able to connect on a sort of kind of real level. I feel like subculture has been the most important thing for NFTs. Like, for me, like I love punk music, I love tattoos, I love anything for that sort of vein, and I can find those sort of communities. I can look for those things through NFTs. I can find people with similar mindsets, and we can invest in a project that really makes sense to us and be part of something that's important. And like when you're looking like down the NFT space, you can find artwork you love, you can find artists you really connect with what they do in the real world. And it's just, I find it so great that you can really carve out your own path. If you have a vision and something you want to do, it's not impossible to carve that out and do it for yourself. Like looking at cryptocurrency, for me, that was my first step into this world. And crypto is great. Like you can definitely, you can trade, you can get rich, but it lacks a lot of soul. The kind of meat and potatoes come into it to get the normies on board of that is making funny joke coins. And like, for me, that's not very interesting. I don't think there's much passion and soul in that. I feel like it's a good, interesting approach, and it's quite fun to get people involved in that way. But for me, getting NFTs and being able to explore your hobbies and interests, like that for me is really exciting. I think art is so prevalent right now, and we're seeing a renaissance in that sense as well, that artists have power. And digital artists, especially, it feels like they haven't had recognition for the last 20 years. It feels like they've been put in the background of the art world for no reason. I couldn't tell you why. Like you guys said, you've seen the stuff we're putting out there. Like LZ, our artist, like he's one of the most talented human beings I've ever come across in my entire life. Like if you've seen our trailers and our level of artwork, we're rivaling fucking Pixar right now. Like, and it's one dude who's creating all of our work, and he does it all for passion. He didn't come up with this from a company saying, if you do all this, we'll pay you X amount of money. This is all his concept, all in his mind. He did it all on his own back. He just needed someone to help him to get it to market. And I want to be that person to help someone to get it to market. They're amazing ideas, they're amazing passion. Like, I'm not the talented one here. I'm just the one who can help them out as I understand the space. And that's what I want to do. If I can be a conduit for these people, help them get their work out there, do good work as well, like things I'm passionate about. Like, I was never allowed to talk about any sort of drugs when I was an esports commentator. I couldn't even specify that I smoked weed for fear of being cancelled. How crazy is that? I can't even talk about smoking weed generally because I might get cancelled. And then, like, there's so much important work that has to be done, and being able to talk about things like psychedelic research and mental health, that's something I can do in NFTs without fear of companies pulling out and stuff like that. So for me, it's being myself, it's being able to work in areas of the industry I'm passionate about. And it doesn't matter which way I do it. With the NFT space, anyone can pursue their dream. And like, it doesn't cost a bomb. It doesn't require months and months of research. You can do it pretty quickly. And for me, that's super exciting. And there's definitely money to be made. Obviously, that's a driving factor as well. But for us, it's about doing things properly, transparently, and making sure that like everyone's just as passionate as we are about the project. Anyone who hangs out on our Discord, you'll see like we spend 24 hours a day answering feedback, and we've got 10,000 people on there. Like Rich and I, my co-partner, we're founders and directors of the company. We spend 12 hours a day in Discord answering questions and like sorting out problems, making sure everyone gets their whitelist, because we're super passionate about this. We're not just trying to fill up a Discord and make a million get out. We're trying to change our careers and be in full control of our destiny, and hopefully carve the way for people in the future. I think, like I said, it's the first step, and we're already giving back $200,000 to a really important cause. Like, and this is my first NFT project. Like, it just makes me so excited to know that I've learned so much in the last 48 hours. Imagine what I can do in 2 years. Imagine how much difference I can make in the world with this experience and with the know-how I have now. So that's why I'm so passionate, and I felt like this was like the absolute best move for me. So yeah, hopefully that summarizes it. Sorry, that's a bit of a monologue.
No. That's perfect. I'm curious as well. Like you with non-fungible fungi, like what's next? Are you guys going to launch a breeding system? Are you going to do PvP? Are you just going to move on to another project? How are you guys thinking of continuing development or expanding out into maybe another type of NFT collection?
So on top of everything we've got right now, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the ecosystem. Let's just focus on the question though. In terms of the ultimate goal for us, it is incorporating some of the esports and gaming background we have. We do want to create an environment. Like, it's going to sound real cheesy, like the way I describe it. I don't think I do it very much justice. But imagine Club Penguin meets Nintendogs. That's the kind of experience we're trying to create. If anyone knows those two games, I'm trying to make a social Nintendogs, basically, where you're not controlling the mushroom. I'm not trying to make some kind of lame third person kind of rip off of whatever game or Fall Guys, whatever. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to create like it's a social environment where you can interact with other mushroom holders, and it's a way to generate the utility token we've got, which is Spore. I'm trying to incorporate the tokenomics of the project with something that's really fun and social, and bring in the cosmetic kind of changes and stuff with that as well. And I think I can do that honestly, within a few months. Like, the amount of like revenue we managed to generate now from the amazing support we got from the Genesis release, there's no doubt in my mind, like, we've got more than enough fuel now to like just knock that one out of the park. Like, I'm not trying to sell people a dream. I'm trying to fulfill everything I set out to do with this project, which was deliver on a game with an amazing NFT background and the tokenomics to actually support a project that makes sense to invest in at a Genesis level. So hopefully that excites people to some extent. We're not going to rest until we get the game out there, which won't be too long.
Yeah, 100%. Super, you had something? Go for it, brother.
No, I was just gonna say I'm super excited for the game. Even if I'm priced out, I just want to, I want to see you succeed. I want to see everyone succeed. Right? That's the whole reason that we're spending time on Twitter Spaces. It's a community thing. So yeah, I wish you guys great success. Also, tell your artist, since he's not in here, freaking amazing job. Just keep doing what he's doing.
Like he deserves it, dude. He's put his heart and soul to this for like 8 months now. He works 12 hours a day. Like I said, that anyone who's just joined the space, if you can, just check out the Non-Fungible Fungi Twitter and just go look at our trailers, our CGI work. It rivals the top studios. And just bear in mind, we have one person creating everything you see on the screen there, and he comes up with the concepts. He renders, animates everything that's there. Like, it's an unbelievable talent, and I've invested everything I have in my life into this guy. I feel like he's the whole thing behind this. And just to know as well, he has the largest percentage in this entire company, like as he should do. I feel like in the NFT space, there are some projects especially ran by quote unquote big companies who come in and excite everyone with their new NFT. They're not actually giving the artists back the cut they deserve. And that's something we wanted to step out. Like, they're the people that are bringing this to life. They're the people that sell your product, and it's their ideas and concept. They should be compensated the most, in my opinion. And that's what we're trying to drive forward. We're trying to make sure the artists get the spotlight. So it sucks he's not here tonight. I would have dragged him on stage, to be honest with you. But LZ, you can find him quite easily from my Twitter. Just check him out. He's fucking awesome. And we're just going to continue to champion his work and make sure he gets the recognition he deserves, because digital artists, I don't think they do get enough. They're kind of the stepchild of the art world. And for some reason, I don't know why.
Yeah, that's always been a question of mine too, is like, how do they not get enough recognition? They're like you said, they're literally the ones that bring the project to life. Like, yes, the people, I guess, who are coordinating marketing stuff and just business development, yes, they help push it along too. But without the art, I mean, there's no project in an art project. Yeah, no, you're right. I had a question about the game though. So, are you guys thinking about building like a PvP type style, maybe like arena where the mushrooms can fight and use different attributes and abilities, or
no? It's real, like the idea of we don't want people to be invested in the idea of like being there for 12 hours a day, getting invested in that sense. It's more of a social platform. If you want to use it, if you want to interact with the other users out there and earn spore, there'll be buffs to, if you go in for a certain amount of time, for like, you check in for, do your daily like quests and stuff like that, which it could be just tidying the garden or just keeping your shroom happy for a few minutes a day. It gives you a buff on spore that day. Like I said, it's a utility token of what we're doing. So that those are the ideas we're going with. We're not trying to create a revolutionary new gaming experience, just something that goes really hand in hand. It's not forced, not crowbarred in there. Like, the idea you had is really cool, but like where we're at right now, I feel like it would be crowbarred in. It would be me sat down in the boardroom like, go, how can we think of a game? This is doing so well. Let's create the biggest game in the universe. Like, I don't want to get carried away. Focus on what we're good at right now, and one step at a time. So yeah, like a social Club Penguin vibe is what I'm going for right now, and I think that's going to be fucking cool. Like, it sounds lame, I guess, when I vocalize it, but it's going to be like kind of Minecraft meets Club Penguin, Nintendogs, and like that's what we're going for. We've got a few prototypes in the works right now, and it's like, I think that's going to be a really cool experience. It's something I'm really excited about.
I also had another question. So, for the people that the floor is priced out, right?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about releasing any more mushrooms, or maybe like a breeding system where you could, I guess, maybe get a fractionalized version?
No. So the Genesis version is just that. That's 100 pieces to kind of be the grandfather traits of the generative drop that's coming forward in. I don't want to commit myself too heavily to a date. What we're saying right now is late November, early December, maybe before. We're in a good place right now. But this is kind of to showcase how good the work is. We wanted to give it the spotlight it deserves and give so many generous buffs and kind of traits to these mushrooms that we knew would kind of attract the big sales that they would, because we're working towards these 10,000 mushrooms that are coming out. So they will be similar, they will look the same, but those will be the randomly generated versions of what you see in the Genesis drop. The Genesis drop is the perfect versions of every trait put together. So if you go look at the drops available on the OpenSea page, they're all beautiful mushrooms put together. The generative ones will still be beautiful. They'll still be just as high quality in terms of the animation and the kind of way they're put together, but they won't be as uniform. They'll have random traits and accessories from all of that collection. So it kind of just shows you all of the traits and accessories available within the generative in one pack. So to be honest with you, like the Genesis edition, it's kind of like how you see, do you know Cyberkongs, like the Genesis edition there? That's kind of the vibe from there. They'll be very important in the ecosystem, but in terms of the general release, that's the main focus. In terms of the generative, that's the ecosystem we're funneling towards. It's just for our early investors and people that got involved in the ecosystem, they get, for example, owning a Genesis mushroom gives you 700% extra spore generation in the ecosystem. And you also get 3 mushrooms airdropped to you in the generative for owning a Genesis mushroom. You also get a limited edition gold ring that will never ever be seen again. That like the list honestly goes on. We were very generous with the Genesis trades. I think people copped onto that pretty early, and that's why we started. I don't know what background the audience has got, but we did a Dutch auction last week, which basically means you set a starting price and an end price, and in our case was 4.2 Ethereum, 420 for the boys. And we thought that would go, okay, so it starts at 420 and every 15 minutes it goes down 0.5 ETH. We thought we'd be selling them out for like 2 ETH, because the idea of a Dutch auction is you sell them well above the price you expect to sell them at, and then they'll go at around what they should. So we expect them to go for two Ethereum each. And then we started the Dutch auction, and all of a sudden, like, everything disappeared within, like, I think it was 3 minutes with transaction delays, but 3 minutes, everything was completely sold out. And it was the craziest experience ever. And I think we realized that people not only love what we're doing from a technical perspective, it's obviously mainly the art, but I think they see value in the fact that the team has this kind of passion, and I think we run the tightest ship possible, the most transparent one. We haven't done a single giveaway. We haven't got a single influencer involved. No one's paid in that sense. And I think that's one of the biggest problems we have in this space. It's a bit of a wild west with the marketing avenues. We partnered up with Schiller. If you guys know them, it's one of the new marketing NFT agencies, and they've really helped us out, just avoiding the kind of usual pit holes you can find yourselves in with doing millions of giveaways and attracting a lot of bots and stuff. So yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, but I think we're navigating in the correct way. It feels really good right now.
Yeah, with the game itself, you're really big on like the social interaction, and I can tell that you're super passionate about connecting people with like minds. So, like for your example, you highlighted that you're really passionate about tattoos. Is there going to be a way within the game for people to identify, hey, I'm really passionate about tattoos, and I want to talk with other people about that?
So the idea is, so like I said, there's the spore token within the game. That's basically good to the whole concept of spore is to play into the game. So right now we have on-site staking for when the token, when the actual mushrooms fully come out. Staking is available, and we have passive yield going on, like this, the usual stuff you'd expect from new projects coming out that offer that sort of thing. But the idea of spore eventually is to bleed into the game ecosystem, where you'll be able to buy new outfits. You'll be able to buy new items inside your house where your mushroom resides and stuff like that. You'll be able to change their garden. Imagine Animal Crossing, that sort of experience. Like, that's the mushroom garden we're trying to build. And you purchase these new items, excuse me, with the spore token, which generates, depending on, let's say you own a Genesis mushroom, like I said, they own 700% extra spore compared to the generative ones. Every mushroom owns the same yield across the board, apart from the Genesis ones. And then if the mushrooms are taking into our staking platform, the different tiers of mushrooms get taken into account. So let's say you've got a magic mushroom, a Maya mushroom, which is our middle tier one, and a bog, which is the bottom one. They all generate the same amount of spore right until the moment you stake them, when the buffs come online. But yeah, ultimately that whole ecosystem we're setting up right now, like we said, the grandfather traits from the Genesis, everything has been set up already. The framework for everything we're talking about, it's already set up. It's already been established. We just got to make sure we release it on the right timeline, and it's delivered in the way we said it was going to be. Like, I'm very adamant. Obviously, like we talked about gaming so much, if I'm going to release a game, it's going to be fucking good. It's going to be ready for the public. It's not going to be a half-baked effort. So I don't want to be too committal on what we're doing. Like, but the whole idea of the spore concept bleeds into the game very heavily indeed, and also things as well like other people are doing as well, like buying exclusive merch. We want to do all of our merch through the Spore token. You won't be able to get our merch unless you're a holder and you have the Spore token itself. And also, we're coming up with awesome ideas as well. We're working on, because like you said, the artwork for our project's so fucking dope. Why wouldn't we offer 3D printing for your mushrooms through payment of Spore? If you're a holder of the mushroom and you love the projects so much, hold on to your Spore, you can get a 3D physical version of your mushroom printed as well. That's something we're working on and something that will be released. So that kind of is like the backbone of the game and the Spore kind of plans, I suppose. But super interested to explore that kind of avenue.
Yeah. I guess let me reframe this question. So, will there be like guilds or clans like within the game itself?
I don't think so. I think it's more of a case of you're doing your daily chores as your mushroom owner, and there's other players in the space as well. That's kind of the vibe we're going for. It's not going to be a huge PvP environment. It's more of a looking after your mushroom and having other people naturally or organically doing that on the other side of the garden, for example. That's the vibe we're going for.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's kind of where I was getting at. Like, hey, like form like a clan or a guild that's passionate about tattoos or passionate about CS:GO, whatever it might be. Link up with other mushrooms, and kind of form like these micro communities within the game that are passionate about specific topics.
Yeah, like everything's open for exploration. Like we're so early. Like we launched 2 days ago, so like we're taking feedback all the time, and any amazing ideas or revelations we have with that stuff, I'm going to pursue. It's all early framework right now, but like the game is happening, and yeah, it's obviously something that's going to be super important to me. I'm not going to release a product that I'm not proud of. So hopefully I can give you some more information on the next show we do.
Yeah. 100%. I have a question that's kind of off the topic of the NFT project. I guess like Super Chase, did you guys have other questions around the project?
No, I was just having fun shooting the shit.
Yo, I know that you're super passionate, obviously, about like making a difference in the world, and I'm curious, like, what is your end goal in terms of impact, like from like a global scale, or maybe from a nonprofit perspective, or on the environment, like where do you want to make the most impact in the world?
For me, it's just showing it can be done. It can be done in the correct way and showing people that difference can be made generally through doing the right initiatives, working with the right people, having the right vision, working with the right artists, championing their work and making sure they're the forefront of what you're doing. They're under the spotlight and you're making it clear the entire time. This is the talent. These are the people driving this. We're just creating the storylines around it. And for me, that's the most exciting part about this. This can be whatever the fuck you want it to be. It can be cats, it can be dogs, it can be monkeys. Whatever you come up with, whatever creative vision you have, you can bring it to life in a reasonably kind of stress-free manner. You can find the people around you. There's so many people willing to help and contribute their ideas and make a difference. And hopefully people will share that vision. I want to show that we can still turn an amazing profit and still have amazing philanthropic activities and show there's ways of giving back and making a difference in the world. It doesn't have to come down to the politics of everything in between we see on Twitter when it comes to all the different debates, NFTs and everything in between that. But just showing that it's possible to do things correctly and it doesn't have to be the traditional routes of marketing with NFTs and stuff like that. And just showing that we're able to contribute in a positive manner. Like, that's basically what we're doing. Like, we've got a very small team right now. We're looking to expand and taking one step at a time and hopefully taking everyone along with the trip with us.
Let's go. That's beautiful, man. I'm definitely hyped. We sometimes leave time at the end of these things to bring on audience members. Are you okay with that if we let audience members ask you questions?
Anyone who's like interested in anything I've spoken about tonight, gaming, NFTs, the project, anything you've got, so down for it. I welcome any and all questions.
Cool. You guys can request now. I'll let you guys on one at a time. See.
Anyone at all?
we got one person. Let's see.
We got a lot of the OG listeners
I
in
know
here,
we're
too.
vibing. What up, Tybo?
Yo,
What's up?
I didn't even realize it was going to be a shield, or not a shield, just a sharing of his project. I'm blown away so far. I'm just trying to remember the question. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, you got all the time you want, bro.
No worries. I'll bring someone else on, and then we can transition back to you.
He hit the button too many times. I know that feeling.
It's fine.
Hey,
Hey, what's going on, Kelly?
what's up, guys? Longtime friend of Henry's here, so I know
What?
his story and all that. But it was good to hear him talk about it, and it was really insightful to actually how this whole came about. I have like a general question about NFTs. I understand the concept of NFTs. I understand the concept of cryptocurrency. But that being said, it's very overwhelming, and it's, it feels like there's a huge learning curve. And, you have to devote a lot of time to actually get into it. For someone like me who has a full-time job and like is taking care of a baby, how can I start educating myself better in in an efficient way about how to get into this world, into this realm?
Oh, it's a good question. It's a broad one. I love it. I guess I'll speak from my experiences as someone who's relatively new, I suppose. For me, the Twitter Spaces have been the absolute godsend. Like I've cut my teeth so hard listening to these things. I think it's the most underutilized tool in social media right now. It's so powerful being able to get your message out there, unfiltered, uncensored. No one's taking control of this. No organizations are listening in. No one's taking it down with DMCA. People are able to speak their minds and speak passionately and share their visions on the future. For me, like listening to these spaces, and like I listen to the craziest shit. I listen to like NFT fantasy drafts, for example. That sounds really lame and boring, but the idea is everyone pitches together their plays for next week. They'll put down 100 Ethereum on what they think is going to boom next week, for example. And like it might sound like a silly concept, but like the same way people learn about American football from fantasy drafts, you learn so much as well. The reason they're putting half of their stack down on a new project that's just minting because it's got such an amazing team that have worked on these different projects and they've got this great staking platform. Those are the kind of things you need to learn about, I suppose, like understanding what's deeper than the art, understanding what makes a project exciting to not just a collector, I suppose, like someone who's just there like, oh, I love this artwork. This artwork's really cool. I guess you have to go a bit deeper and understand who developed this project, what have they worked on before, what kind of experience they got in the space and all that sort of thing. But yeah, for me, I guess the biggest shout out I can give is Twitter Spaces. I don't know. I assume you guys agree with that, considering you host these things.
Yeah. I think Twitter Spaces is awesome. I think a different route other than that would be, hey, like go on OpenSea, go on Rarible, go on these marketplace websites and just explore, click around, see what's trending for the week in terms of projects, and you'll kind of get a feel for where the market is at and what's actually popular, and you can kind of start to learn the trends that are happening in the industry.
What would you say was your like analysis of the Metaverse thing like today? Would you say that was like that's going to be the most talked about thing this week, I suppose? Was that a successful launch? Like, what was your analysis of how that went down, as an example, I suppose?
Yeah, that sold out so quick, super.
Yeah. I didn't even bother with going into the Discord to try to get the raffle because there was just so many people trying to join the raffle. But Metaverse, honestly, I was talking to Mewtwo and Chase about this. That's some of the best art we've seen on these NFT projects. So for me personally, Kelly, when you were talking about how to just get into NFTs more, one of my like rules to myself is I try to follow the art. Art is definitely like a huge component in the success of a lot of these NFT projects. Nobody wants something that's just been repeated over and over. You want something kind of unique. I also would recommend following a few people on Twitter who are huge into NFTs. I know DSFi is a good follow. One of my homies, Not Per, he actually hosts a space with his friends, and they're strictly NFTs. So that's a good space to go hop into. Really, and back to what Mewtwo said, just go on OpenSea and click around and see what.
Yeah, I think also just to kind of add in on this, like I'm not sure how familiar you are with like the term of NFTs in terms of the technology or
Yeah.
anything, but one thing I think is just important is like the term NFT doesn't strictly mean like a JPEG picture. So like how this technology works, essentially you could kind of wrap any single tangible asset in real life, and that could be NFT. So a license, a passport, a driver's license, your house, your car. You could have a unique code, like a digital door key to get into your Tesla. Like all those types of things can be created as an NFT. It's just right now in this main thing when people were talking about NFTs, it's like art or pictures. But even within the art and picture NFT community, I think you have different aspects of NFTs. Like you have collector style art NFTs. You have community based NFTs where it's more about kind of like where Henry's talking about that social aspect that they're building out. So some collections are generative to where it's just kind of a randomized base template of like 10,000. And it's more of a community. And yes, it is about the art as well, but it's not so much about like the Fidenzas, if you've heard of that, or just kind of these like really unique one of one looking type art pieces. And then also then you have utility is the other one. So like some NFTs have actual like built-in utility. Maybe you're breeding dogs and you're racing those in this like digital metaverse. I know that was probably kind of like a lot went everywhere, but so whenever you hear the term NFTs, yes, like right now it's like really zoomed in, but
Yeah.
the scope of NFTs are basically limitless.
No, that's like super helpful, and like thank you guys. I really appreciate all the answers. It actually helps a lot, and yeah, I'll heed the advice and kind of look around and see what's out there a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a lot to explore for sure. This like if you take a day off Twitter, 2 days off Twitter, you feel like you've missed a few weeks. There's just always stuff going on. So yeah, I would just keep your eyes peeled on like if you're strictly kind of just interested in learning about NFTs, I would probably just limit your feed for NFT people, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of block out DeFi or whatever else and just kind of focus on learning NFTs. And like Chase said, anything tangible in the real world will eventually be able to be an NFT. Even I truly believe even land will be an NFT on the blockchain, showing that you own that land.
What?
So I mean, NFTs.
One thing I will say, Kelly, is be careful because it gets to the point where you'll be finding it difficult to get to sleep and finding it very easy to wake up as well. It feels like it's Christmas morning every day, especially in this market. It's whatever you buy, whatever you mint, waking up the next day, seeing like what the prices are, seeing how it shifted. It's a really exciting time in the space right now. You couldn't have got involved at a better point in the industry. To be honest with you, we're just finding our feet and just started to make a difference. So yeah, you definitely jumped on board at the right time. Just to close that one out.
Yeah, and also just if you are someone that has a ton of curiosity, good luck. It's quite the rabbit hole. I'll just say that.
Nice.
And you'll have these like light bulb moments where it really is like a paradigm shift in how you view the world. In my eyes, at least, like once I kind of really saw the bigger picture of things. Yeah, so it's exciting to learn about, but yeah, it is a lot.
Kelly, I also just checked out your website. You do photography. Yeah. Photography is actually blowing up right now too. Drifter Shoots is a profile I would recommend following. He's always in some spaces, but he's got a collection going on. I think it's called Where My Vans Go, and he's climbing all these skyscrapers in New York City and taking pictures, like looking down, like a POV, and they're going absolutely bananas. And your work is good, so I would definitely just like, even if you wanted to start selling your work as NFTs, you have that option, and so many people value photography.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of exactly what I was thinking about. Looking back at my photos, like granted, they're a little bit like they're not. I don't know if they would work in that space in terms of like how it would work in a series, because I think it's more successful if you have them grouped into like a series of photos that kind of work together. that being said, it's something I definitely want to look into and thought about for a little bit, and that's kind of why I reached out to Henry in the first place. When I saw what happened, I was like, holy shit, this guy knows what the fuck he's doing. And so I was like, I need to learn more because I'm definitely interested in maybe pursuing that. But I'm gonna look into this guy. Thank you. Thanks for the pro tip, and thanks for the compliment on the photos. Appreciate it.
No problem. I do photography as well, so
nice.
I love to compliment other photographers all the time. But yeah, I'll shoot you his account as well.
Thanks
for coming on,
Yeah.
Kelly.
Last point. I was going to say another person. I'm not sure if this one's mentioned, but D's FI. He hosts a lot of space, and from time to time, I'll pop in there, and I do hear a lot of it. It's like traditional photography, and just kind of like my advice to you is to just kind of, if you are wanting to get in the NFTs, like I would interact with the community and kind of like tell your story, because I have heard personally people will talk about that's what draws them more to the art than the art itself. It's like they want to know the story and the art or the photography that they're looking at, not just kind of having a piece of photography listed on an OpenSea with no context.
That's actually really good then, because all my photos have a pretty good story attached to them, so that works in my favor. Also wanted to say that I come from Henry's world of esports, and right now my Twitter is just still esports, and I'm just not in esports anymore. So I think it's time to like do a cleanse and shift over and find a new community. I think this is it. It sounds like you guys are like a good group.
Create a burner. That's the best way to go.
Yeah.
Just a complete anon burner. And really just kind of build up a new personality. But I think it's sick that you work at MLG. I remember those days when I was younger with the buddies, the MLG teams together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, got to get points.
Oh my goodness.
Or it was more game battles. Sorry, I wasn't at the MLG stage just yet. But,
game battles, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna have to turn you into a DJ now.
All in ship.
Oh my goodness.
Chase's piece of advice just there is actually a really good one. I would create like an Anon account. As you can see, is a picture of me. I need to change that. But yeah, I would just create an Anon account just to keep everything separate.
Wait, Super, that photo of you is not you?
No, my avatar right now is me on the computer, but I need to change it because that's
Thanks for coming on, Kelly.
Appreciate of course. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Love you, Kelly. Bye.
Love you, Henry. Bye-bye.
Hey, Henry, I've figured out a question.
Very cool,
a lot of these NFT projects, I know you guys sound way more legit than most, but when it comes to developing a game, there's a lot of like work that is required. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on like what the team is and like what experience they've had in the past making games. And are you also looking at collaborating with other projects like Altered State Machine? I'm not sure if you've heard of them before, but it sounds like something would work really well with what you guys are doing.
So to answer your question about the game stuff, like I said, I've worked in the gaming industry and esports for a long time. I used to work at Activision. So my gaming contacts is deeper than any well you can imagine. My co-founder as well is also a Halo commentator. He works very directly with all game publishers. So our contacts and kind of expertise in the gaming space, like don't worry about that. Like it's something that's super passionate for us. And in terms of developers and working with projects, I've been working with the biggest developers in gaming for a long time now. But in terms of where our game's going, like I said, we're working on prototypes with friends in the industry, and we have stuff going on in the background, but it's like I'm nowhere in a position to start commenting on where we're going with like the chosen studio or anything like that. But their funds have been allocated already. Like, as you could probably tell, like what we did this week has enabled us to move forward with our plans and actually design a game and a kind of landscape for that. But yeah, it's all looking super positive. What was your second question as well? Sorry, you did say you had two of them. It was the other project. How was I would have worked in a collab in them? We're working in collaboration with lots of people under the hood right now. Like the charity stuff for us is the main collaboration focus. We're doing charity auctions. Every contract we release, every collection that goes out, there will be a charity element attached to it. Primarily working with the Beckley Foundation, the psychedelic research and the mental health stuff, but that's not to say that it's limited. Like in terms of collaborations, it might not necessarily be with other NFT projects, but incorporating lifestyle brands and non-profit organizations into the NFT space and giving them a platform to showcase what they're doing, how they're making change, and introduce them to the landscape. For example, like I said, the psychedelic stuff, we're doing a Twitter space next week with the founder of the Beckley Foundation and kind of bridging the gap between those kind of subcultures. Like I said, that's what's so good about the NFT space in general, being able to talk freely about these things without being feared of a witch hunt or being worried about people judging how you approach your life and stuff like that. So for us, collaborations are starting right now with people that don't have a voice in the space and giving them one. That's basically what we're going for. But there's no reason why we can't work with another project. Like I would love to work with Cryptodes, for example. We have loads of different frog elements within our project, and I think a Cryptodes collaboration would be fucking awesome. But those are all things up for debate. I'm sure we've garnered enough attention now to justify a collaboration like that. But like I said, we're 2 days old. We're still learning our craft, and I don't want to jump into anything that's short-sighted.
No, that makes perfect sense. I totally agree with you. Like, it's really interesting how you're connecting with the whole psychedelic space, and the Beckley Foundation is what you're saying. I think it's so important that people are getting more educated in that realm, because it's still very new for most people. And I'm really like excited that you guys have funded that research. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's anything that has a stigma attached to it, and people can't actually feel like they can get their points over or have a debate about a subject. That's something I'm passionate about. Something that has genuine scientific backing and actually can help people, but for some reason has been outlawed in certain countries or states, and people are being withheld from important developments in the medical industry for sure. So it's something that's important to us, and I hope we can deliver on all these. I know I talk a big game, and I always have, and it's been my biggest problem my entire life is talking a big game. But you can look back at my history, I always deliver, and my reputation and my name is the most important thing I have. And that's why, like, I'm one of the few people in this space that I guess you guys are all fully doxed. Like HenryG is like, it might be behind a Bored Ape right now, but everyone, you Google me, you can look me up and see everything I've done in the last 10 years. Like I'm very happy to put myself out there, put my name on the brand, and I wouldn't do that on something that I'm not going to throw my life into and be here for a very long time, because my reputation is important to me, and I guess I'm willing to put it on the line for a space that's fledgling and still finding its feet. And there are some bad actors in the space. Like, it has to be said, like, as great as NFTs are, that there's always going to be people that are doing things wrong. And I feel like we're trying to show that there are more good people than bad, and the right projects will rise to the top.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. One last question before I hop off. Do you think you'll be working in the metaverse realm with these little fungi characters?
I guess that's the buzzword everyone's using right now. What do you mean specifically? Like, what's your vision of the metaverse incorporated with this project?
Just like connecting to like maybe Sandbox or Decentraland or any like well-known metaverses that you could drop the avatar in. Or is that something you guys are not involved in?
I think that what they're doing, those projects you mentioned are fucking awesome. They're really interesting, and there's definitely scope for us, like with having a project that has 3D models and something that's anthropomorphic and easily accessible in that sort of realm. It's something I would explore, and like you said, that'd be almost a collaboration, like a special feature, like a special appearance in one of those projects. But it's not something I want to explore full time. But like when we're developing our own game and our own example of that, it's something I would not explore fully, but not something I'm ruling out. I hope that answers your question. I feel like metaverse is something it's difficult to quantify with all projects, but yeah, it's definitely something I'm aware of.
Awesome. Thank you, man. That's all I've got I really appreciate your project, and I'm probably going to buy one of those Genesis. Thank you.
I mean, in November. That's awesome. Thanks for the questions.
Thank you so much, Tybo. Appreciate you, brother. What up, Ox?
I have the most out there question of all time.
Okay.
It's not really pertaining to what you're doing. Just curious if this has been brought up. Have people in the industry talked about shared computing power in terms of using like a gaming system computer or whatever, to using the computing power then to mine or generate whatever token selected, and then dispersing that to the players for like time played, achievements, kind of like how experience points would be, or like gold coins on a game, where it's actually rewards from you using your computing power during the game. That's been something we've been talking about. I'm not sure if that's something that's happening right now in the real world.
Oh, nothing I'm aware of, at least. Boys, do you have any experience of that? I've not heard of anything using that. Like, obviously, I think that the pit holes you have with that, from a very surface level, I suppose, would be as soon as you're fucking around with mining and getting involved in using people's hardware, there's a chance that it could all go wrong. If you look at New World coming out this week, they were like burning out 3080s, no, like left, right, and center. As soon as you start using people's hardware and processing power, you're going to burn out hardware. I'm not sure many people will be stepping into that arena. It's been done a few times in gaming in the worst possible way, like normally under the hood, and people trying to exploit your machine's power and like take 2% across a network. And it's normally got a very bad reputation in gaming to utilize people's power. So I have no idea whether it's being used right now. I guess I don't have a real opinion on it, but it's something I would personally avoid just because of the potential pitfalls you could fall into.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're specifically only looking for gaming, but in terms of like the relative idea of what you're getting at, in terms of using kind of like gaming hardware, like unused hardware for mining tokens, there is a project called Kudos, Cudos, but they're not specifically focused on, you mining as you're playing a game, but you can kind of lend your gaming computer, your PlayStation, your Xbox, to kind of mine and help support that network.
That makes sense. There's like a lot that could go wrong here. We've been playing like in the Bowtie Jungle on some spaces and discords. We've been playing with the idea, just because essentially that would make it to where it would have to be set up as like a DAO or something like that. Like it couldn't just be, it's very complicated, and I can see why it's gone wrong. But that would essentially make the where people could actually get paid to play video games just for simply playing and their data usage. But I definitely see the pitfalls there.
I guess to go back to the one of the first conversations we had on this space was, I'm not sure if you were here for it, the idea of like using things like the World of Warcraft model in terms of grinding for items and having rare drops, and if you're the first team or guild to do something, instead of getting dropped an in-game item that only has one use in the actual realm of the game itself, being dropped an NFT that your guild can then sell on, and you become a business through grinding the dungeons and the raids and the final bosses. If you're the first people to get that item, you can take that, instead of using it in game, you could go on and sell it for $200,000 as a guild and distribute that among your team. I think that's a real use case of what we're doing here, and using people, like, instead of trying to use their hardware or their actual physical time as a person, they're using their skills, and we're rewarding a team or a guild for actually achieving something and being able to sell it on. So they're the first ever ones to defeat this final boss. They get dropped this NFT, and they're the first ones to sell it. And it has so much value because they're the first guild to get it. No one else has grinded it out yet, so they're going to sell it for the most amount. That's where I see NFTs going in the gaming space. But that's one of my crazy ideas. Who knows if that'll ever come to fruition?
I think that's awesome, because if you take someone that lives in a third world country,
Yep,
you
exactly.
could completely change their lives, like forever. You could take them out of poverty simply through a game, which is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I say we're at like the kind of text-based adventure level of play-to-earn games in the NFT space. The ones that are really making money, the ones that are doing well, like I said, like Axie Infinity and like CryptoKitties and stuff like that. And Z Run, etc. Like they're all cool concepts, but when you look back on these in 10 years, because it looks so like archaic almost, it'll be like they laid the foundations, but where we're going and we can combine traditional AAA games with this technology and these ideas, that's the future. That's where this all makes sense. And just to go back to the original point, was like as soon as someone like EA or Ubisoft, Activision, as soon as one of those boys steps into the arena and has one of their titles incorporating NFTs, it's just game over. The roof will get blown off. Everyone will have to give in, and that will be the complete shift in everything we know in this space. As soon as one gaming company gets involved, in my book, that's when we see a complete paradigm shift.
Awesome. Well, thanks for answering my question, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, Ox. Appreciate you, brother.
Henry, I'm actually curious. Have you heard of Alluvium?
I haven't. Tell me more.
Oh, we have an episode with them. They are the first like AAA blockchain game.
Okay. What kind of game is it?
It's
like
it's kind of like Hearthstone.
Oh,
yeah, but I think it's also like
I have,
is Hearthstone like open world?
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never played it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that looks fucking awesome. Like that's the perfect use case for it. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like a card-based collecting game, like what Hearthstone, you're opening packs, and like again, completely on their network. You can't do anything with it externally. That makes complete fucking sense. Like games like Team Fight Tactics, the League of Legends auto chess game, and stuff like that. Getting pieces for that sort of stuff. They're like the genres that already exist that are underutilized in gaming. Like it's infinite. Like every use case you can think of, or every game imaginable, every genre, you'll be able to think of something fucking awesome that will work with NFT technology. You better find something that's like, that makes sense. This gives real value to the person. This has a passive income utility. There's going to be so many things in the future that we're going to move away from the fucking pay to win setup we have right now. That's the best we can come up with from these multi-billion-dollar companies. The best we can come up with is opening packs randomly and hoping you get something that's completely useless outside their own created universe. It's like, that's just really underwhelming. I think it's so fucking whack. So like considering the amount of revenue, the amount of power these people have, like that's a future. There are a few companies stepping into that space and trying to challenge the status quo right now. But yeah, I think if we have the space this time in 2 years, we will be saying like how amazing it is to see these companies finally adopt this tech.
Yeah, just to add on the point, I see Ledger's up on stage, but you know, it's interesting that we're seeing a shift in the gaming model to where it's like the free to play, but the in-game stores are actually making the most money compared to the traditional, you know, you buy the game for 50, 60 bucks and you have no extra cost. But now it's like you can just play the game for free and you're kind of hooked and you want that extra, you know, that extra skin or that extra wrap or whatever it may be to kind of enhance your status and that realm or metaverse, if you will.
Well, that for me, stuff is fine. Like if you love something so much, if it brings you loads of enjoyment and you really like cherish your time within that game, like cosmetic accessories and that sort of thing for me is absolutely fine. The game's free to play, and then you end up spending $200 on making your character that's completely pimped out and exactly a representative of your personality. I think that has value. Like for me, like it definitely adds something. I like showing personality and like being able to contribute to the way I look and stuff. So I think there's so many different avenues of approach here. Like we could talk all night about that sort of thing. But for me, yeah, it's the most obvious use case, and it's going to be the first one that falls over in terms of the mainstream industry adopting it. We're seeing more fashion brands step in. That's quite obvious. Like they're doing some interesting sort of activations, but nothing that's really screaming longevity. So yeah, gaming for me is the number one.
100%. What's going on, Legend?
I asked permission to speak because I wanted to pick up on the fact of using people's hardware to farm cryptocurrency while they're playing games. I think even if you avoid all the pitfalls of frying hardware and the developers abusing your hardware just for profit, even if you avoid all those pitfalls, I think it's just not that great of an idea for this project because it really limits your audience. The people need to have a good gaming computer, or well, at least a strong enough computer so that they can farm the coin, and yeah, and people have to trust you because of all the pitfalls you talked about. And yeah, after I asked the permission to speak, Henry almost said exactly what I wanted to say, that it seems better if the person, for example, who beats the boss first gets the big item and then they can sell it, because it's so inclusive and anyone, even with a bad computer in a third world country, could earn money this way and they could get lifted out of poverty. And I just think
I agree,
these
bro.
kind of things are what make what make NFTs awesome. At first I was a bit
like everyone has an opportunity to get involved. There's no judgment. No one knows who you are. Majority of people behind a profile picture. If you're someone who's passionate or someone who's talented, you can make it in this space. And that's kind of what I was getting at with that. So I completely agree.
Yeah, at first when I heard about NFTs, I thought it would be very crypto focused. Yeah, like for example, crypto is favored towards people. Yeah, it's like an investment thing right now. And NFTs are not like that. It's more of a community thing, and they can also be investments. But there are so many more use cases that make it a more accessible thing for people. For example, if these games get developed, it could really help some people and create awesome communities.
Yeah, very beautifully put, man. I completely agree. Some very important nails you hit on the head there. That's awesome.
Love the
Okay,
thought.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to see what you produce with this crypto project because I fucking love the art. It's
Thanks.
it's a crypto project. It's an NFT project that I've been really interested in just because of the art, but also your involvement because I kind of know you from the Counter-Strike scene.
Yeah.
I know you put your heart into your projects.
People do, bro. It feels like the Counter-Strike scene kind of threw me to the wolves after I left. Like the esports world is very strange. Like if you're not in with them, you're kind of out forever. And I'm totally fine with that. My audience hasn't transferred over, but I'm hoping I can convince some people. I'm going to do everything I can to show like we're doing things the right way. We're doing things in the most honest and transparent approach we can. And you might not like what we're doing now, but we're going to fucking change your mind. That's our approach. We're going to do so much good that you won't have a choice but to like what we're doing.
I'm telling you, Henry, they are toxic sometimes. Just do what you're doing. You obviously
sometimes. I think that's a light understatement. But thank you, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Thanks for coming on, Legend. Appreciate all the comments and thoughts. All right, guys. I think that's a wrap.
It's a good show. That was a strong one, if you don't mind me saying.
Yeah, man. This has been a ton of fun.
Yeah, dude. Like I'm super down. Like you'll see me in every space, pretty much going. If you ever like, want to bring me up for your next show or just hang out, like I'm totally down. Just hit me up. I'm always down to come shoot the shit.
You're always welcome, Henry. We've had a great
+1.
Yeah, this has been incredible. Henry, we do record these. Are you cool if we post it on YouTube?
I insist you post it on YouTube. Let's do it. I'm fucking down.
Let's go. Let's go.
Also, Henry, do you want for the thumbnail, would you like your Bored Ape or do you want a picture of
No, bro, I'm fully converted. The Bored Ape is absolutely fine. It feels like it represents me as a person now. I'm more comfortable with the ape than my own skin. So yeah, do that.
Sweet. Let's go. All right, cool. All right, everybody.
Stay based, everyone.
See ya.
See ya.
Ciao.